guys, it's me, Ursula Thomas, and of course you can see that I'm not by myself as promised. I told you guys I was going to have a special guest. Some of you might know her, some of you may not. This is my beautiful, gorgeous daughter. This is Janae Emily Utley, and for the ones that have jumped from her house over here to my house, you know exactly who this is. You know what powerful woman of God this is. You know what creator this is. You know what mastermind this is that's sitting beside me, and you know what?
You should have brought the tissues out. I don't even know what we talking about today. I already feel like I'm going to need some tissue.
I gave birth to her. Now what? I gave birth to her. God gave it to me. So anyway, you guys know by now what this is. This is definitely a thrifting channel. Thrifting is always the foundation of this channel. But I also told you guys, included in that is life. We are going to incorporate more life because it's so many people out there hurting. And you guys that follow me, my long followers, you always know I always end by saying what? Be the solutions to somebody's problem and not the problem. Because that's why we were born. That's why we was put here on this earth. That's why God created us. He didn't create us to walk this walk alone. He didn't create us to do this by ourselves. He created us to love and help one another. And that's what we were put here to do. So I wanted my daughter to come along because we're always talking. We have these awesome dynamic talks. And one day we were just in the kitchen talking, and I was telling her about how I always talk about being the solutions to somebody's problem. And sometimes being the solution is not always this. Sometimes it's a hug, sometimes it's a smile, sometimes it's a wave. So in talking about that particular day, she out and let her take the floor, and she can tell you exactly how that went. And then you will see the importance of why I always end with that saying. So you're now in the hands of my beautiful daughter.
I feel like we talked about a couple things. Are you talking about me sitting in Panera and that lady talking to me? Okay, so, how much of the background do I need to give?
Just tell it.
Okay, so if you don't know, I am married, and I'm married to a white man. And but I make no mistakes that he still is a white man, and that I'm still a black woman, and I live, we live in a society that is inundated with like racism, whether it's like openly racist or like those subtle things that are hurtful and are prejudiced. So during a time in my life, my husband and we weren't talking to his family, and there are still a few of his family members that we don't mess with, we don't talk to, and it started out dealing with offense. Like they would say something and we would say something, and offense was there, nobody would talk about it, until one day my mom actually sent me some CDs about offense, and I was listening to it, and I was listening to how much of like a slave master that offense is. Somebody cuts you off in traffic, you're offended. Somebody says something to you the wrong way, you're offended, and you actually walk around with that offense, and that offense starts to eat away at you. And the particular CDs that my mom sent to me, the lady was saying how she literally had physical changes in her body as a result of the offense. Like literally she gained 10 pounds. Like overnight she gained 10 pounds because she was messed around and got offended. And so I'm listening to that, and I'm searching my own heart, I'm doing my own internal work, and like I'm like, no, like this offense that has been like looming around in the air with like different things with my in-laws, I was like, this just has to stop. So I reached out, and let's just say it didn't go well. Let's just say I absolutely know that God told me to reach out, but sometimes, and this is a lesson too, sometimes God will tell you to do something, and you'll think the outcome needs to be roses and sunshine and rainbows, and that might not be the point. The point might be to shake something up and to shake somebody up so they can start to internalize things, so you can start to internalize things, and it might be rocky, dare I say hard, but I don't like to use that word hard often, because we are literally supposed to have peace. We are literally supposed to learn how to cast our cares on God. We are literally supposed to learn what it means that Jesus died and the chastisement of our peace was upon him. We are literally supposed to do this. So when we walk through these circumstances, it's challenging, it's rocky, it's ugly, but we're still okay. And I wasn't. Like, that's something I'm still learning now. I've gotten better with it. But, you know, it wasn't all peaches and roses. And then from that point, it's like, just stuff started happening until ultimately, like, all of this underlying prejudice and racist stuff came out, right? And it was one day I can remember I was sitting in Panera. And I was just struggling with this thing. I was really grappling with it. Because the situation had got so explosive that my husband and I were basically told, you're not welcome in our house anymore. You're not welcomed around our kids anymore. And so it was just like, okay, cool. But I was like, this particular day I was just struggling with it. And sometimes I would wake up, and some days I would just be triggered. Like, I could be in traffic and a white person could cut me off, and like it would trigger me. And I can remember I was sitting down and I was working. I was doing my best to like stay prayed up and like just fight those thoughts off and those feelings off. But I was unsuccessful. And I can remember it was this elderly white lady. I was sitting down and I was working, and she literally goes out of her way to come around to me and to say, I love your hair. You know, it's so beautiful. It's so fitting on you. And so in that moment, like, I was literally sitting in Panera, like, just fighting back tears, because God knew that I needed that in that moment, right? Not saying that this lady didn't have her own but literally me sitting there praying to God in Panera, God, I'm struggling today. I'm struggling. I don't want to always walk around feeling like this rage in the inside, because racism is here, and people like to say everything ain't about race, everything isn't about color. In this United States, it is, because everything ties back to that, whether people want to realize it or not. It's connected. And I was like, God, I don't want to walk around feeling like I gotta fight for myself and defend myself all the time. And so in that moment, I felt like I heard that, and he was just like, I'm gonna send somebody who looks like the people who have hurt you to let you know that I see you, right? As I'm telling this story, I'm reminded of another story. Last winter, it had to be like November. I was in Michigan. A friend of mine there had invited me to an event. Really come upon this like cute little town that it was in, and I can remember thinking to myself, "Oh my God, this town is so adorable! Like the lights and the decorations and like the Christmas trees and like it was so cute. I was like, this literally looks like something from like a Lifetime movie, like just how quaint and cute the town was." And I can remember thinking, it's sad for me as a person of color when I see neighborhoods like this. I also think if I moved into a neighborhood like this, I would have to protect myself. Yeah. I could still move in that neighborhood and be comfortable because I know who I am and I know the God that I serve. I know how to now enact that peace. I know how to now enact my faith to, like, I see it, but I don't have to feel it to that level, if you get what I'm saying. So went to the event. The event was over, and I was walking back to my car. And my car was like maybe like 2 blocks away from where the venue was, and it was later in the night, so small towns, they close. Like she was roll her window down like that, but she probably did. So she rolls her window down and she was like, "Hey, do you need help?" And I'm like, "Excuse me." She was like, "Do you need a ride somewhere? It's cold." And so I was like, "No, I'm okay." I was like, "My car is actually right there," and I point to my car and she could see it. And she said, "Okay, have a good night." And I walk on, and in that moment, I laugh because I'm like, okay, God. Because when I drove into the town and I had those thoughts were quickly followed up by a prayer. The fact that when I leave, God has this woman who does not, this old white lady pulled to the side and was like, "Can I help you? Can I give you a ride?" I feel like he sends things like that to me to let me know that he hears my prayer. It won't always be like that, and I don't have to like face that alone. So it wasn't, like my mom said, it wasn't they were coming to me, this old white lady and the older white lady in Panera and the older white lady that night. It's not they were coming to me and like praying for me and laying hands on me. It was just simple gestures for me that they had no idea that they were actually answers to prayers.
And see, that's why I always try to encourage each and every one of you. You never know what somebody is going through. You never know what type of day they're having. And they are praying for you. They're praying for your smile. They're praying for your touch. They're praying for your word. They are praying for you just to look at them and acknowledge them. Even just by saying hello, just by giving them a smile. So when I end every video by saying, be the solutions to someone's problem, it's not words that I'm just saying. It's coming from my heart. And I want my heart to reach you guys' heart. I want you guys to enjoy this channel. I want you guys to enjoy the jokesters in me. I want you guys to enjoy the thrift hauls and all my great finds. But also, above all of that, I want you guys to see the God that's inside of me. That the God that's inside of me will help influence the God inside of you. And if you don't know him, get to know him. And I don't mind you seeing me every video and hearing me every video saying you were created to be the solutions to somebody's problem. I wanted you to tell your story, and I wanted them to hear it from you. And of course, I had no idea a lot of what was going on. I had somewhat of idea, but not to the degree and to the depths of, how it's different, because living that and being in there every day and hearing that, of course, as a mom, it hurts. You don't want about hurting your baby. Let's just be honest. But I still don't have to walk that. So the fact that she has to walk that, and then what I do here, it makes me go into prayer and it makes me feel some kind of way. But I don't feel it with that heaviness because she's in it. You understand what I'm saying?
Heavy for me sometimes.
Yeah, and she's in it. So all I can try to do is be that supportive parent to the point of just trying to keep her encouraged. Because unfortunately, that's the world we live in as of right now. And I just want her to be encouraged. And I thank God for that, because I really do believe God says you give what you get. I'm just cutting it short. He said you reap what you sow. I'm saying you give what you get. And because I know the foundation and the roots of what we've put out, I know it's nothing but joy and it's nothing but peace that's going to triumph over my babies. I've been praying. She didn't marry him by mistake. I started praying for their husbands, I think when they was like in the 2nd or 3rd grade. I spoke certain words of what I wanted them to have. Now, God got a sense of humor. Good in my baby, treat her like a queen. I want him to love God. I want him to have some moolah. I'm just being honest. And so I didn't speculate. I didn't say I want him to be a tall black man. And God said, ha, gotcha. So I would never have regrets on who loves her. In Christ, we have to find a way to really trust God, to really believe in God, believe in who he is, believe in what he wants us to do. And that's why I always say, share the love that's inside of you with somebody else, because you never know what they're going through. You never know what their situation is. You never know what they are fighting. But just that kind gesture from you will let them know that God hears them, that God hears their prayer, and he sent you to be the answer to their prayer. So with all of that,
I didn't know we was going there today. I had no idea. Ooh-wee.
With all of that being said, as always, from my beautiful daughter, tell them your stuff.
You can find me all over social media at The Fitness Gym, and gym is spelled J as in Jesus, E-M. On YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Periscope, Pinterest, Snapchat, any platform under the same handle. You can even get to my website at thefitnessgym.com, or you can get to it by JanaeEmilyUtley.com.
See, she got me into this stuff. She does it all, and she's good at it. Anyway, we are signing off. As always, be the solution to somebody's problem, because that's why you were born. Bye. Love you guys.